Education Sector Strategic Plan, ESSP, 2024-2029. Providing the citizens of Rwanda with sustained and inclusive high-quality education for competencies, skills, and values required to drive rapid socio-economic transformation. Forward. The Education Sector Strategic Plan, ESSP 2024-2029, presents a comprehensive roadmap for the continued transformation of Rwanda's education system. Grounded in national priorities and aligned with Vision 2050, the plan emphasizes the central role of education in driving sustainable development, economic growth, and social inclusion. Over the past 5 years, the education sector has made significant progress in expanding access, enhancing the quality of learning, and aligning educational outcomes with the evolving needs of the labor market. Today, more than 1/3 of Rwanda's population is actively engaged in the education system, a milestone that reflects the collective commitment of all stakeholders. Despite these achievements, the journey toward a high-performing and inclusive education system continues. The ESSP 2024-2029 sets out key priorities for the next 5 years, including strengthening foundational learning, expanding technical and vocational education, advancing higher education, promoting adult literacy, and reducing dropout rates. These strategic objectives aim to ensure that all learners, regardless of age, background, or circumstance, acquire the knowledge and skills needed to contribute meaningfully to national development. The plan places a strong emphasis on equity and inclusion, reaffirming the sector's commitment to leaving no one behind. Special attention will be given to learners with disabilities, out-of-school youth, and those from disadvantaged communities. Investments in digital learning, infrastructure, teacher development, and higher education will further position Rwanda's education system to meet the demands of the future. Achieving the goals of this strategic plan will require coordinated efforts and strong partnerships. The education sector calls on all stakeholders, public institutions, development partners, the private sector, civil society, and communities to work together in realizing the shared vision of an inclusive, high-quality, and future-ready education system. The ESSP 2024-2029 represents an important step forward in the sector's long-term transformation. By working together, Rwanda can continue to build an education system that empowers every learner and supports the nation's aspirations for prosperity, resilience, and innovation. Executive Summary. Rwanda's Vision 2050 embodies a forward-thinking ambition to drive economic prosperity and ensure inclusive wealth creation for all Rwandans. Central to this vision is a commitment to implementing transformative reforms in healthcare, education, and skills development. Recognizing education as a cornerstone of national development, the Education Sector Strategic Plan 2024-2029 serves as a comprehensive roadmap to address key challenges in the education sector while building past achievements. Over the past 5 years, the education sector has made significant progress in access, quality, and relevance. The number of students enrolled in education increased from 3.6 million to 4.8 million, meaning more than 1/3 of the population is in the education system. Key initiatives have focused on ensuring the availability of adequate learning materials, strengthening teacher capacity, and improving school infrastructure. Additionally, significant efforts have been made to align curricula with labor market demands, particularly in technical and vocational education and training, TVET, as well as higher education. Over the next 5 years, the primary goal is to enhance the quality and market relevance of education. To achieve this, the sector will focus on the following priorities: ensure timely access to quality education in basic education, enhance the quality of education at all levels, with a focus on improving learning outcomes at foundational grades, scale up access to market-relevant education in basic TVET and higher education, enhance ICT integration in education at all levels, enhance data and evidence-based teacher decision-making, school leadership, and accountability at all levels of education. The ESSP 2024-2029 covers covers all levels of education, including pre-primary, primary, general secondary education, TVET, higher education, and adult education. To fulfill the ESSP objectives, the sector will prioritize expanding inclusive access and improving the quality of education across all levels. Increasing pre-primary enrollment will be facilitated through expanded infrastructure, the recruitment of trained teachers, and the provision of adequate teaching materials. Additionally, adult education programs will be expanded to help parents support their children's education. In primary education, the priority will be improving learning outcomes and reducing dropout and repetition rates. Key interventions include expanding infrastructure to address overcrowding, strengthening school feeding programs, and improving teacher training, with a particular emphasis on English proficiency. Furthermore, special and inclusive schools will be reinforced to ensure that children with special educational needs and disabilities receive equitable learning opportunities. For secondary education, efforts will be directed towards increasing net enrollment and improving learning outcomes by strengthening teacher capacity and expanding access to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics resources. Moreover, creating and providing alternative pathways for out-of-school youth to reintegrate into formal or non-formal education will be a key priority over the next 5 years. In TVET and higher education, the focus will be on aligning curricula with labor market demands and strengthening research capacity. For TVET, this will involve establishing technical secondary schools of excellence in all districts and vocational training centers in every SAL nationwide. In higher education, efforts will center on introducing market-driven undergraduate and postgraduate programs while expanding the PhD workforce. Infrastructure development and the provision of essential resources, consumables for quality teaching will remain key priorities. Additionally, the integration of ICT into teaching and learning will be a major priority, with a focus on equipping schools with electricity, digital devices, and internet connectivity, alongside comprehensive teaching training in digital skills. Governance, data systems, accountability, and benchmarking mechanisms will be reinforced to ensure that education decisions and policies are informed by real-time evidence. Over the next 5 years, cross-cutting actions will be integrated, including climate and environmental sustainability, gender equality and inclusion, peace and values education, as well as health and nutrition. These efforts aim to foster a holistic approach to both individual and national development. Achieving these goals will require strong collaboration among government agencies, non-governmental organizations, and the private sector. The ESSP 2024-2029 serves as a guiding framework for all stakeholders to coordinate efforts in enhancing the quality and market relevance of education over the next 5 years. The ESSP document has 6 chapters. Chapter 1 provides an overview of the ESSP, emphasizing its alignment with national development priorities like Vision 2050, the Second National Strategy for Transformation, NST2, and global commitments like the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Chapter 2 highlights key achievements, challenges, and opportunities in Rwanda's education system. It covers access, equity, quality, relevance, and governance across various subsectors, including pre-primary, primary, secondary, TVET, higher education, and adult literacy. Chapter 3 presents the ESSP's vision, mission, and priority areas. It outlines strategic outcomes and interventions. Chapter 4 details the institutional roles and responsibilities of key stakeholders, including the Ministry of Education, MINEDUC, its affiliated agencies, and development partners, while Chapter 5 outlines mechanisms for tracking the progress of ESSP implementation. Finally, Chapter 6 provides an overview of the budgetary requirements for implementing the ESSP. It identifies funding gaps and proposes strategies to mobilize resources from government allocations, donor contributions, and private sector investment. General introduction. Background. The government of Rwanda views education as a key sector in propelling sustainable economic transformation. The nation has made notable advances in improving access to education for all, and there have been achievements in learning outcomes as well as the capacity of the system to measure and track these improvements. To build upon these achievements and drive a rapid, sustainable educational journey that fosters social, economic, and institutional change, the implementation of a comprehensive ESSP for the next 5 years, 2024 to 2029, is essential. This strategy will act as a foundational framework for delivering high-quality, relevant education that drives and sustains long-term progress. Its implementation will be carried out through annual sector and subsector plans, ensuring a structured and effective approach to achieving its objectives. The gains and lessons learned from the previous ESSP and NST1 will contribute to the desired quality and relevance of the education momentum. Achieving this progress will require a paradigm shift by introducing innovative approaches in teaching, learning, assessment, investment, collaboration, and accountability within the education system. It is crucial to align the functions of the education ecosystem with the broader vision of achieving upper middle income status by 2035 and high income status by 2050. This ESSP provides a solid foundation for inclusive transformation, which will redefine the role of education in social and economic development. Further, the governance and accountability considerations in the education sector will have multiplier effects on decision-making at all levels. The ESSP presents pathways and opportunities to enhance the education sector with the primary objective of strengthening the quality and market relevance of education. This entails investments that target rapid advancement and regional positioning of modernized education systems, leveraging the country's human and social capital, ICT infrastructure, and the favorable private investment environment. The goal is to ensure that all children and youth are provided with high-quality education that equips them with the competencies, skills, and values needed to drive social and economic transformation. The ESSP prioritizes delivery efficiency in schools with a student-centric orientation, while strengthening the collaboration and involvement of the private sector in research and innovation, with a focus on problem-solving initiatives that address the country's challenges. The ESSP also prioritizes higher education as the engine of socio-economic transformation, with a clear mandate for institutions like the University of Rwanda, UR, to lead reforms in academic programming, research excellence, and infrastructure development. Rationale of the ESSP. The primary objective behind this ESSP is to synchronize Rwanda's educational objectives with the national priorities set out in the National Strategy for Transformation 2, NST2, as well as the evolving Global Development Agenda based on the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. This ESSP responds to the need for a highly skilled workforce, transformative research, and a digitally advanced education system. To achieve this, it is imperative to evaluate the condition of education within the existing macroeconomic framework, while also considering the perspectives of various stakeholders and integrating both national and international priorities. Given that Rwanda's education has experienced several operational, institutional, and strategic changes, this ESSP serves as the comprehensive foundation to the development, consolidation, and provision of education services in Rwanda for the next 5 years, alongside the National Strategy for Transformation 2. It also acts as a guiding strategic framework for the creation of subsector educational plans aligned with the short, medium, and long-term objectives. The ESSP will provide the framework for annual operational plans, targets, and budgets over the 5 years of implementation. It also provides the direction for integrating cross-cutting issues that emanate from within and outside the education sector. Throughout the ESSP period, 2024 to 2029, there is a growing emphasis on using data strategically to inform decisions that are aligned with stakeholders' needs and priorities. The strategic priorities of the ESSP are therefore considered to tackle the future goals and obstacles of the education sector, while also considering new trends and drivers of other sectors such as nutrition and health, widespread use of ICT, climate change, and the environment. This strategic plan will continuously influence investment decisions as the education sector evolves to offer durable, high-quality education that is competitive on both regional and global levels. Development of the ESSP. The ESSP was developed through a comprehensive and inclusive process, guided by the principle of leaving no one behind. Extensive consultations were held with a wide range of stakeholders, including a series of technical retreats that informed the development of the guiding matrices. MinEdu led the development of this strategy and remains committed to a collaborative, evidence-based approach to education policy planning and implementation. The process was further strengthened by a thorough review of key national development frameworks, including Vision 2050, the previous ESSP, the Rwanda Education Strategy, and the Education Policy. Additional reference documents included NST1 and its midterm evaluation, sector strategic plans, and district development strategies. Close collaboration with MinEdu and its partners was central to the process. Stakeholders engaged included government entities, development partners, civil society organizations, the private sector, schools, students, teachers and administrators, parents, and community leaders.